Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Street Epistemology review show. Today, I've got a bunch of guests here with me. I've got Nathan from Abstract Activist, Janosch, John, and Anthony. What's up, you guys?
Hey, Reed.
Hey, excited for astrology talk. I haven't reviewed an astrology talk in a while. They're my favorite to do.
And yeah, the last time we did a review show on my channel, it was another astrology talk. And this time, I was much better behaved. I was very chill. There was no problem. I think I have improved. Well, at least we'll see.
You didn't get riled up on this one like last time?
No. And maybe it's because I didn't share my sign and people didn't accuse me of things or yeah.
Yeah, right. And if you haven't seen that review show, that's one of my favorites to watch back. I love that one. There was like 10 of us reviewing that one.
I know.
Or something.
Yeah. I'll have to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
When did you record this one, Reed?
I think last week, and it's also on my second channel. If people don't know about it already, I have a second channel now, Cordial Curiosity Clips, where I stream my IRL Street Epistemology table. I've been going out to UCLA the past few weeks, so if you want to see that, unfortunately, that was the last one. On Wednesday, so I won't be back for a while, going on holiday break. But in the future, that's probably where there will be those streams. We also stream poker on that channel as well. If you want to watch Street Epistemology poker or Pine Creek poker, that's fun.
Yeah, if you want to see me lose all my money to Doug like every week.
I lose all my money there too. I always lose.
Yeah.
I lose every time.
I'm so distracted by the conversations, I can't focus on the game, and that's my downfall. Yeah. And I think I'm focusing on the game, and then somebody says something, and I'm swept up by it.
This guy can play. This guy, John.
John.
I'm down on the last two sessions that we played, but I'm up overall in the long run, and that's what poker's about, the long run. So I'm reasonable.
And weighing your confidence.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's get into the video.
Oh,
if it will play. Come on.
This will be a first.
Are you streaming it in 4K or something?
I don't know what I'm doing. 1080. Find out why.
That's bizarre.
Okay, this is going to take a while.
Anyway, John has a new channel, Quality Questions, right, John?
Yeah,
plug your channel.
I mean, I actually haven't uploaded in a few weeks. I'm trying to.
Thank you.
When I say,
how are you doing today?
Good, are you?
Let's
go ahead. Let's go ahead with a. I haven't uploaded in a while. When I upload a video, I want to make sure it's a good one, and I haven't had very many good talks to upload recently, so I'm waiting on like a good one. But yeah.
Yeah, feel free. All right. Anyway, here we go.
What's your name?
Reed.
Mm-hmm. My name's Ange.
Ange. Mm-hmm. How do you spell that?
A-N-G.
A-N-G. Gotcha. Cool. Want to do headphones? It's a little easier to hear around here. Check. Hello.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah. So yeah, Ange.
Yes.
Yeah.
I plan to upload this video eventually, but right now it's just the clip. I've been, clipping out the streams and posting them on the Clips channel with just the wide angle. It's easier that way. So I don't know what's happening.
How many other camera angles do you have going on here besides this one?
With the GoPro,
yeah. Have you seen my?
With the 360, I can get a close up on both of us, and then like a really wide, kind of like super wide shot. Mm-hmm. And I can look around towards anything on the table or towards the whiteboard. Anyway, let's try this again.
I set up here before. Is it the first time?
No, it's not the first time.
Cool.
Should I take my mask off?
Sure, if you want to.
Yeah.
How's your classes been going today?
Pretty good. Just came out of a classics Greek class.
Greek classics.
Greek class.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
How about you?
I'm not a student here. Just I go to various places around LA to practice my hobby, where I try to talk with people with this way of having conversations, the Socratic method style, street epistemology. And I like to hear people out, let them pick a topic, and I ask them questions. to help them think through it,
Yeah.
to help me learn, and to help us both collaborate on how we can figure out whatever we're talking about is true or not.
Yeah.
Yes, those are my goals. Any questions about it? Or
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, thanks. Do you mind if I record and live stream? Is that cool? Thanks. All right. Alrighty, cool. And let me know if you don't want it to go anywhere, or if I want to not upload it or something.
Okay.
So yeah, did you see a few of the topics over there?
Yeah, I did. Astrology caught my eye.
Astrology.
Hmm
Want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
What is astrology in your mind?
Well, I mean, there's obviously this like big, like, even on like TikTok and stuff, there's just like this trend of like really consumable astrology, where it's really easy and like to kind of like be told, like what to expect of your day, of your month, of your year. It's kind of silly to me.
Okay.
But it's very popular, I think. Yeah.
What's the difference between consumable astrology and the real thing?
Well, I believe there is some kind of like force, or like kind of like some energy that like at the time that you were born, you know what I mean? Like that moment that you manifested into life, there was something that kind of like aligned in the universe that made you come into life. But is it so easy to say then, like, okay, because this planet was here, then, or because you were born in January, then you're going to be selfish, or you know what I mean? Those like personality traits that are like divide the entire human population into like 12 groups of personality traits.
Do what?
I was wondering, when you said what's the difference between consumable astrology and the real thing, did you have a reason to believe that she thought that astrology was a real thing? Because up to that point, to me, it could have been that she just thought that astrology was silly, just in general.
True. Yeah. I guess I just got that sense that she wanted to, not say her, model of astrology is that silly consumable thing.
Right.
So I just took the assumption that, well, then what is hers about? I assume it has to be something more serious. And if that's the case, then she believes it. I don't know.
Oftentimes I hear this a lot when I have conversations with people who are espousing their belief in astrology. They'll tell me that there's like a different kind of like a horoscope culture astrology, which is different than the chart identity associating kind of astrology. And they're describing to me that even though they're under the same umbrella, they're trying to I'm hearing that there's a separation between these two things. And that's often how a lot of my conversations about astrology start out, is like a distancing from people within who believe that they don't really resonate with. But there's this other thing that people do resonate with, which is the identity constructs. Sounds like we're going to get into that. Yeah.
Okay.
Probably a reasonable assumption. Yeah. Okay.
Great. Yeah,
Oh, the lag.
Don't know why.
Usually you have the best internet out of all of us.
I don't think it's the internet. I think it's something else. I've got quite a buffer.
Can you play it locally from your computer? Do you have it saved, or is that too
No.
hard to do?
I don't think I do. Maybe I do.
consumable
There it is.
astrology, I think it's popular because some people like.
It's probably StreamYard.
Actually, I do. Can I pause that local version? 357. Want me to try it?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead and try it. It'll probably be better quality anyway.
We could just riff while you're doing that.
Yeah, riff.
Like to get told.
So yeah, I noticed that too. Can you mute that?
Oh yeah, this is perfect. Great.
Oh, okay.
Oh, why haven't we been doing this whole time? This looks
Oh,
great.
I don't know. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, much better.
higher quality.
Nice.
But what were you going to say?
I was going to mention that I picked up on that too. She mentioned that there's like this lower version of this thing called on TikTok, right? That was silly to her, but what she's different. Like this view is slightly different in some way. She felt the need to mention it and then distance herself from it, which I don't know what to make of that. She's maybe recognizing that it could be perceived as silly, but hers is probably not. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's early.
Yeah.
Like to get told what to do, or get told what they are sometimes.
Yeah, I think astrology is a kind of answer to the question, what makes us who we are?
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, let's try to focus on that broad question.
Yeah.
And astrology is one maybe out of many potential answers to that question. And try to compare the answers to see which is actually the one we should go with. The most reasonable answer.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Tact.
You really narrowed it down. You narrowed the claim down, but it was based off of what you thought. Because you said, I think blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I did make sure that's a fair question to ask. Like it's one potential answer out of a broader question. And if the psychosocial motivations that go into astrology are really about trying to figure out who we are, then I'd like to make it framed in that question from the get-go. That's my motivation.
Okay.
It was a little leading though. It did come from her. So
And she might be in a tough position to say, no, I don't want to talk about that. It's probably easier just to say, oh yeah, that's fine. So maybe you're getting more compliance on the selection of the topic here because of the way that you framed it, as opposed to saying, well, I see a couple different ways that this can possibly go. We can talk about this, we can talk about that, maybe this or something else completely. Which of those sounds interesting to you? You could do it that way. I'm all for experimentation though too. I think it's good that you were experimenting with it, but generally I think we try to let our conversation partner pick the topic and the direction they want to go.
Yeah.
At the same time though, your summary was pretty spot on, I'd say. Yeah.
Answers to that question. What makes us who we are?
What makes us who we are?
I thought that was baffling. This long pause.
Well, some people think it's other people. Some people think it's God. Some people think it's this power of nature that's sometimes personified as God.
Nature.
Mm-hmm.
Nature. Those are good ones.
What do you think?
What do you mean by and other people? You said. What do you mean by that? Like socialization?
Yeah, I mean, just if you think about okay, how does your personality form? Some people think okay, there's your genetics, which are from your parents, and then there's the socialization aspect of the nature and nurture. They're both kind of
nurture.
Yeah.
Is
nature.
Culture another good word for that?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Question.
Yeah.
Why didn't you go with?
Alrighty.
Why didn't I go with her words?
Yeah.
She said nature and nurture. And she also said other people. I don't know. I just thought culture was more accurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
May just be another way to describe the same thing. Just looking for a synonym. Yeah.
Let's think about these any other potential answers to have on the board to think about, or does this cover the main answers people give?
I think this is a pretty good list.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
If we had to rank this between 0 to 10, where like 10 is the most reasonable, 0 is
Least reasonable.
reasonable, completely false, what numbers would we give each of these?
Well, this is completely my personal opinion now, I guess.
Yeah, we're just guessing at this point.
Okay. I think 10 most reasonable is nature.
Okay.
Wow.
Astrology, because, well, like we talked before about, like the kind of like the
Yeah, you said force and energy, something
Yeah.
in the moment that manifested into your life. That thing.
So that's there, but then there's like the astrology, like
If that's what you mean by astrology.
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
That force.
yeah, like the study of stars and the energy of that versus the categorization of and labeling of all those kind of events. So in my kind of definition, astrology is kind of tied in with nature.
Astrology is a natural hypothesis. Okay. So it kind of goes in with it.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought that maybe she meant it's tied with nature. It's as important, like it's a 10, and not it's basically the same thing. But I might be mistaken.
Okay. Yeah, I took it to see as like a category within nature, astrology.
Right.
I thought it was really interesting that you have the 4 different reasons up there, and which one is the most reasonable. And she picked nature over astrology. And at first I thought maybe she has a little bit of doubt. Like, I think this would have been a good point for the confidence scale, or is this maybe a good analog for the confidence scale? Like, if there are other ways that we could possibly explain who we are. But then she put, again, this is kind of speculation, but she put the astrology in with the nature in the thing that she rated the most reasonable. So I think that's a weird, or not a weird, but an interesting dynamic.
I guess so. Is culture a natural hypothesis as well?
It kind of seems like the more we get into it, the more all of them kind of start merging into each other.
Yeah. Maybe between astrology and culture, both are natural. Is that fair to say? Culture is natural? If nature is 10, these are more specific hypotheses within nature, which is, how would you rate culture versus astrology?
I think culture is way stronger than astrology.
Okay.
Yeah, just because it's way more kind of potent in our minds when we interact with other people. How that interaction changes the next interaction is much more stronger and more kind of easy to grasp and easy to act on.
Yeah. Can I add another hypothesis? Biology? Is that fair?
For sure.
That's another kind of natural hypothesis.
Yeah.
This is the nature versus nurture when we mean that.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, she mentioned something in biological before. Genes, I think. And she also
Maybe.
said nature versus nurture, so I added that.
Okay. Does culture answer all the questions for what makes us who we are?
Definitely not.
So it's not a 10. Where would it be on the scale?
So maybe let's say 7.
A 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think you kind of you shifted the goalpost a little bit. I think I remember you saying what is most reasonable on a scale from 1 to 10 out of these, and now you said, does that account for all of it? No, not all of it, not 10. now it's a 7. So first it was what's most reasonable. Now it's what accounts for most of who we are.
Yeah, that's like if culture was answered all of our questions about how we know who we are, then it should be at a 10, right? Potentially.
Well, let's say if we use the nature and nurture example and we take it to mean genetic factors and cultural factors, I would say it's both very rational, very reasonable to say that they both make us who we are. So I would put that at a 10. It's very reasonable to think that that makes us who we are, but it would be a lot more difficult to decide what has more impact on who we are.
Yeah, so maybe I should use those. I have like little magnets with numbers on them. They can be like representatives of the percentage of the pie chart. So it's like 80% explanatory for it versus 40%, and that could be that could be what it is. That's good.
Yeah.
Astrology answer all the questions about who we are?
Let's say a 5 for that one.
A 5?
Yeah.
If I can find it. Where does biology go?
6.
It's more. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a 9 upside down. Okay. So if we know a lot about the culture and the astrology and the biology, we would know what makes us who we are. These are all the things that help us answer that question. Okay. How does astrology help us make us understand who we are?
It's through understanding. I think it's a lot about like letting go of your ego. Because that's often more polluting and like more confusing the mind in what and who you are. And kind of like what you are here for and kind of that kind of thing.
Where would you go from here?
Oh man, you can tell
Nathan.
she's thinking. You can tell she's thinking, right? And that's great. And I love how sometimes there's often like people rush to explain things, and I love how slowly she's thinking about how to answer your question. Like, how does it help us? Another great avenue to go down is like how did you discover astrology personally? Do you remember the first time you ever heard about it? Was it through the culture? Since you guys were just talking about culture, and maybe even go down the road. Maybe this would be later on, like the people who discovered astrology. How did they discover it? That's another really good question. Like, do we understand the thought process that went behind discovering it in the first place? Yeah, that's probably the direction I would go. And I love how slowly she's thinking about it. It's a really good sign.
I think I would. Sorry,
go ahead.
Let's keep going for a while.
You're here for your purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. That might relate to God. What's the rating you would give for that?
The rating?
Yeah. Some people might say I'm not going to give my opinion unless you're asking.
Some people might say. Some people. I would say. Well, I mean, God is different things, though. You know, God can be love.
Yeah. How good is God as an answer to what makes us who we are on that scale?
4.
4.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Gotcha. Interesting. So now, let's go back to astrology and focus on that as that one piece of that answer.
Yeah.
How good of an answer is astrology to this question. Right now it's a 5. Yeah, why? What's your confidence that that is the correct number? If all the way to the right is absolutely yes, 5 is the correct number, or not sure, or absolutely no, completely false, it should be a completely different number. Where is your current confidence about that on your little confidence scale thing there?
Well, there is kind of like a definitive aspect to it in that like the stars are going to do what they do no matter what we describe them what to do, what they're doing as.
The stars are going to do what they're going to do?
Yeah, the stars are going to do what they're going to do.
Okay.
No matter what we say like that they're doing or how they're affecting us or how we act based on how they act. So there is that. But there's just like such an artificial aspect of astrology that makes like it even confusing to just even like, you know, base an answer off of.
An artificial aspect?
Yeah, just yeah, like I mean, if we're saying that like, you know, okay, so because Jupiter is in whatever house or something like that, you know, how could we ever know is through like trial and error or experiments or kind of like repeated experience, right? And we don't really have that, so it's just like, but if you're looking at like the kind of like just the phenomenon without like the kind of like describing it or like easily consuming it, then you can kind of start. I would think of it as more like, okay, where am I in respect to all these planets in this star stuff, and what does that mean that I act in certain ways because of when I was born in like the history of humans. And yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so we're trying to build this model of what makes us who we are.
Yeah.
And one answer astrology gives is because of the relationship I'm hearing between where the stars were, and the planets potentially, and where we're born and when we're born. This model predicts how we're going to be based on all that input and output.
Did you pause it?
Yep.
You mentioned the word prediction. It's a prediction of how things will be. Did she ever mention prediction? Or are you inferring that from what she said?
I guess I'm inferring that. Yeah. And I do clarify that later, but yeah, at this point, I'm just inferring it, assuming it.
Did you guys understand what she was saying before you tried to summarize, Reed? To me, I couldn't follow.
It was hard. I tried
honestly,
that's one of the reasons why you do summarize those, because you want them to hear what you think you're hearing.
Sure.
Yeah, my interpretation was that she was vocalizing a lot of this out loud for like, you know, it's a rare opportunity to vocalize this sort of idea out loud, and the thought process behind it, since it's probably rarely ever brought up or asked about, and so it's kind of it seems like a collage of different like reasons, and we're just kind of piecing it together right now. So it's a little hard to follow, but we're getting somewhere. Yeah.
I'm also noticing her body language, the arms crossing. You know, she sat back.
The
second you repeat back what you're hearing, or you ask her a question, I notice she's done that a couple times now.
So yeah, I've seen that as well. At the same time, though, like I saw a couple of other clips from this day, and Reed's in the shade, and I don't even know what time of year this is. I don't know if it's chilly or what. Like
she
it's
might
possible.
She could be cold, right?
Yeah.
It was starting to get chilly. Yeah.
Yeah. Because this kind of looks more like a cold, like I'm cold, but at the same time, it very well could be. It's really important to look out for those sorts of things, just in case somebody's uncomfortable. But she doesn't seem uncomfortable at all.
Yeah, just notice it, but don't draw too many conclusions from it. Just like, oh, they're crossing their arms a lot.
Yeah,
I wonder what that's all about.
Definitely,
but that's about it. Don't draw hard conclusions from it.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I think also I think back to like kind of this like Buddhist idea of like the circulating life forms.
Circulating life forms.
Yeah, just this energy that circulates around all of us and kind of like manifests itself in different forms. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about when I think of like our placement in the stars and the energy. And
Okay.
yeah.
That sounds more like a supernatural hypothesis.
A supernatural hypothesis or a natural hypothesis.
Yeah. Is that energy of the Buddhist, of the swimming, of the, what do you call it? Energy or souls?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a natural hypothesis or a supernatural hypothesis? Or is that a fair category difference?
That's kind of a weird question, though, Reed. Because here's the thing: if it's real, it's natural, right?
Mistake.
But at the same time, it's like,
yeah. And you said like it sounds like it's a supernatural thing. Like now you've made it harder for her to disagree with you that it is or not. Like,
Yeah.
of course, you say like, oh, I wonder if that's either supernatural or natural. Like if we had a gauge, is it more? Because when she was describing it, I was thinking she's describing something natural. This is your place in the world naturally with all these atoms in the universe, and I was surprised when you said, "Oh, that sounds supernatural," because I was thinking she just described a natural thing. That was my interpretation of it.
Yeah, mistake.
Or an unfair one.
I mean, if you ask me, then it's the way that things are, so that's just going to be like a natural hypothesis.
Okay,
But
we can go with that.
yeah.
So astrology is part of that Buddhist potentially model of how is it like a
hold on, before we
reincarnation
go
thing?
on, if you guys
All-
are in a talk and somebody says, I believe in the supernatural, or I believe in supernatural things, like, what's your go-to question for that? Because like now I'm wondering, like, if it's real, is it still supernatural? If it's real, it gets me wondering,
Yeah,
what
I
do you
mean,
mean
you would
by
have
that?
to explore and define what is natural and what's supernatural. How do we define those words?
Yeah, those are good ones to explore. Yeah.
And how do we tell the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Humans have souls. Is that, or is it all of life, or is it more than life that has an energy or a soul? What is the difference between energy and soul?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's this idea of, like, everything being on the palm of the Buddha. So everything is kind of, like, part of one. And so if you think about it that way, like, if you are part of one, then everything around you must kind of affect you in some way, or you are involved with everything around you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you born in a certain time or certain time, a certain time, then the way that you are interacting with the material around you is kind of descriptive of of your unique existence. Like in this time, I'm living as a human being because I was born in this way. But that is different from this like just that artificial aspect that we talked about. So I think, I mean, it's just like, I just think about I wonder how these forces affect me rather than just being told what they are.
Yeah, the astrology claims there are forces that affect people when they're born. Is that true?
That's the right question.
I think that there is like a certain like kind of path that you could be on because of where you started. But I don't think it's as kind of like clear paths. Like it's not like there's a fork in the road and there's like a sign saying go this way, go that way. It's more like you're on the path and you might find certain things along the way because of where you started.
Okay.
Yeah.
The signs are kind of path. Is that fair? Yeah, is that fair to say? They're not strict paths. They're just a set of things that are more likely to happen to you in your life. Is that what's a good example of someone following the path of what a sign says in life?
Following what a sign says in life.
Is it more prescriptive? Like because this is your sign, you should do this, or is it because this is your sign, it's describing what's going to happen regardless of what you want to do?
Ooh, that's a good
Sign as
question.
an astrological sign?
Yeah, the astrology.
okay.
Are you basically kind of just asking like why is this belief important? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
I'm trying to clarify what is entailed in the claim, I guess, and just getting how it works again. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
However,
I think at this point, we keep talking at the same time. I'm sorry, but I was thinking like at this point you're kind of exploring like, do you believe that fate, like if the stars determine what we do we have any choice in the matter? Is that prescriptive or descriptive?
Yeah, exactly. Janosch.
I think you asked her a question and then she was thinking about it, and then you followed up with another question while she was still thinking.
True,
I think
yeah.
something different questions. So,
And you asked this wonderful question, is it true? She paused for 30 seconds, and then she was attempting, I think, to answer your question, is it true? But the way she described it, it made it tantalizing to like get further understanding of how she was describing these stops along the way, and if it's a description of the future or if it's like what you get to choose. But it still didn't answer the question of if it's true or not.
Yeah, now we're back to the what again.
Yeah. Where this was a really fundamental question. This is something that I learned, like when you notice somebody really think about a question that you asked, make a note of it, because that's probably where you want to focus. And I think we're getting away from the truth of the claim into some description of how it works, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe she's attempting to explain how it's true. I don't know. But it seems like we got further away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Ray, do you think that maybe you were trying to help her out because she was struggling to answer the question?
Not exactly. I was trying to just clarify what she believed, and it could have gone either one of two ways: more prediction or more prescription. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see what she says.
I gotta say though, let me just add, like with an interlocutor like this who seems like they're thinking about it for the first time, there's a lot of uncomfortable pauses and silences, and I actually kind of feel bad for her. I think maybe a less experienced person at SE might want to help them out more, or like end the conversation or change the subject or something, or get them off this difficult topic. But the fact that you're sticking with it and she's still engaged with it, I think is good. Like my tendency would be to end the uncomfortableness for her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I'm really feeling it right now on her, but now I don't know if she's experiencing it. Maybe she's having a blast.
Huh.
But I'm getting the sense like I feel so bad for her. I would want to wrap it up or help her in some way. But you're not really giving a lot on it. And this is sort of that uncomfortable comfortableness that we talk about a lot in SE, at least how I'm interpreting this.
Yeah. Here we go.
Sign. It's describing what's going to happen, regardless of what you want to do.
Sign as an astrological sign?
Yeah, the
okay.
astrological sign.
Astrological sign. No, I don't believe that. No.
Like, is it a recommendation for what to do, or is it a prediction of what's going to happen?
Yeah, how do we use it? Why use it?
Is it a recommendation or a prediction?
Wow, that's a good question.
Yeah. There we go.
I guess it would be more of a prediction because it's like, okay, here's what's set out for you. Yeah.
Well, then that's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to know what's going to happen in my life.
Right.
I would love to have that knowledge.
Yeah.
And if astrology is claiming it has that knowledge for me and like everybody, I'd love to know more about that. How does that work?
Yeah. I love how genuine you came across just then. That was pretty good.
Very genuine. Very
Thanks.
genuine. Yeah.
Yeah. And predictive powers is like exactly what we're looking for, you know, novel testable predictions. That's great. It can help us learn something. Now we can test it and investigate it. If there's a prediction in our future that we can weigh that prediction somehow, or at least have a conversation about it. Yeah.
But by the way, I feel like I don't get the sense that she's uncomfortable, because I feel like if she was uncomfortable, she would probably like be shifting in her seat, maybe look around, maybe look for a way out. But she's really just calm and reflecting on the questions.
Right. She is giving a lot of like signs though that we normally look for in somebody who is being uncomfortable, folding of arms, you know, long pauses of aporia. Like sometimes like those things make me wonder if the other person is uncomfortable or not. And it's always good just to ask, just check in and be like, hey, like, I love this talk. Can I have like 15 more minutes? That's like a great way to just make sure if you're not sure. But I think Reed's intuition is on that. She's probably not that uncomfortable. I think she's fine. Keep going.
All right, here we go.
I think it's a lot to do with intuition. This like feeling, the gut feeling that you get when you feel that something is right or wrong. I think that's what kind of like guides the path that you should go on.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think this intuition feeling is like a part of this universal like drive or universal like pull toward a certain thing.
So like our intuitions for what we should do or not do. This is evidence of astrology's prediction for our life. If we have a positive intuition that, yeah, this is what I should be doing, that is evident, and it aligns with what astrology says is going to happen in our life, that is evidence for astrology?
No, it's still, I'm still like, so if you go like on an astrology app, like there's an app CoStar, I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
I've heard of it a few times. Yeah. People have mentioned that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
How do you spell that?
CO dash star.
Dash star.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean I can pull it up right now, honestly.
Okay.
But yeah, it pretty much like I take what I want from it really, because it gives you like a daily like kind of like motto of like what's gonna happen. Or like
by the day it is.
By the day. So it'll be like
the beginning of this talk. It was about consumable, right? What was the phrasing exactly? Consumable astrology or something like that, or something. There was a differentiation between the right kind and the wrong kind of astrology.
Yeah.
And it's interesting now that we're talking about an app you can buy or download and how it gives you daily updates. Well, that's all right. Maybe there's something new to it. I don't know. Let's keep going.
Then you take from it what you want.
Yeah.
Like, something like, don't, like an easy one would be just like, don't close yourself off or something like that. But it's just like a lot of it is also what I notice is like kind of like vague stuff. Like it can go either way that then I can take and I will like kind of make the best out of. And so that's why I kind of think that it's like, even like some of it is like just kind of counterintuitive and stupid in some ways, but I think it's honestly like not the worst way to go, because it kind of gives you like these like prompts or like these like potential like paths, and then you choose like how you are gonna make whatever out of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a way to help you in your life.
Yeah.
In some way, giving you prompts to, to go about in your day in a positive way.
Yeah.
A kind of motivation type thing.
Yeah, and like, and again, like to follow your intuition. So it's like a question of intuition every time. It's like, yeah. Okay. So that like positive feeling, or that okay, because of this, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Result comes out of asking your intuition, like based on this prompt. So, yeah, even if there's like kind of, so yeah, I kind of take parts from the app, and take what's helpful. Yeah.
Okay. So if people get this app,
what was that? Take from it what I like.
Yeah.
And like, did she just switch here from like earlier when you asked if it was like a suggestion or a prediction? Is she now like saying that I read the app, I get these prompts and decide how I want to act, and that's a suggestion? Like, is she? I'm not sure.
Yeah, now it does sound more like a suggestion thing.
Actually, maybe she kind of moved on from the prediction thing, and now she's talking about. It sounds like this is not a claim about astrology working, but these are just prompts to make you think about some things in your life, and not really making a claim about this is something that really like this energy that tells that of the stars that make you who you are.
I'm kind of curious. I would probably at this point ask a different kind of scale question, like how, on a scale between 1 and 10 or something, how important is this belief to you? Like if 10 was like, I don't know, I practice this a lot, I think about this an hour a day or something. Is that where you are currently? Like, how important is this belief? Because I'm kind of wondering.
You could use a scale there. I was thinking you could say, let's say tomorrow your app just doesn't boot up. It doesn't work anymore. What would be missing from your life? Or would it have a noticeable impact? Or yeah, how would your life be any different if that happened? Might be good.
Actually,
I like that too.
I think I would ask, is this app, the kind of astrology from this app, is that the same astrology that you explained earlier? This life force, this the energy from the stars that makes you who you are. Is that what we're talking about, or is that something different?
Yeah, the claim is shifted here, possibly. It sounds like.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Take parts from the app, and take what's helpful. Yeah.
Okay. So if people get this app and they are prompted to use their intuition to go about their day in a more positive way, if more people did that and they became, more behaving more positively in their day, is this good evidence that astrology is true? That the reason for their positive behavior is because of all the star stuff and the energy and when you're born, the cause of that good behavior. Is that behavior good evidence? What I'm hearing you say is that the CoStar app helps people behave better.
Yeah.
Is that good evidence that astrology is true?
Probably not.
Okay.
You're like, oh.
Yeah, all right. Because I really want to know if it's true.
Yeah.
And maybe we can ask the broad question: how confident are you that it's true right now? If all the way to the right is absolutely confident, or not sure, or absolute false, where's your current confidence about it?
So
you have a scale.
Oh, you want me to like do the scale?
Yeah.
How confident am I?
Yeah.
I'm going like this right
now.
Nice.
But that's good. That's good.
Sure.
Kind of.
Yeah. I mean, so
That was awesome.
there's definitely this like feedback aspect of just like when it's written down as astrology, then like this is how it is, then it's going to become the reality of how it is. But how true is what's written down is I'm less confident right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
How
another thing
awesome
astrology
is it
does for
that she says it's going all over the place right now, but it's great. She loves it. She likes that she's starting to question and to think about it more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's enjoying, well, to a certain extent, she's enjoying cognitive dissonance, right? Or something along those lines. She's experiencing cognitive dissonance and she's recognizing it. She's laughing about it in a kind of an uncomfortable way, I still think. But it's still valuable, right? She's thinking about her thinking, which is exactly what we try to do in SE.
She doesn't seem afraid of it. And and she doesn't seem like somebody who's like searching to rationalize every single thing that they want to preserve, and more so looking for reliable answers without even you needing to say the word reliable, which is great. It's a really good sign. Can't ask for much more of a good attitude in an IL. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think she thinks you're judging her. And I think you got there because you were so genuine in saying like, if it's true, I want to know it. Like you were really sincere. I believe you when you said that. And I think she does too. And I think that's allowed her to enjoy the cognitive dissonance that she's just explained that she's feeling.
Yep. Here we go.
It's all come together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So another thing astrology does for us is helps us behave better in the world.
Right.
What are some what's the second best way besides using CoStar to act better in the world?
Go read books. Go to school.
Okay, all right. So we're on that path as well.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be at risk of not behaving in a bad way.
Yeah.
If we don't potentially rely on astrology in order to do it.
Well, it's like for me, I mean, like kind of this like spirituality thing is like, you know, like journaling and like meditation and like kind of asking yourself how you feel and like what you think and clarifying your ideas, so that like the actions you take are more directly from yourself and you're not kind of just like going with the flow of everything. I think that's what helps me to do.
Yeah, so if you have like a journaling app that asks you kind of similar questions to just journal about a question.
Yeah.
It's not making any claims about how you came about through stars and energy and stuff.
Yeah.
That's another good way to figure out what you should be doing in your day and your life.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Alrighty. So at this point, what is the best evidence for astrology or reason to think it's true?
I would say.
Are there any at this point?
Yeah, the only thing would be this intuition and like evidence of a lot of like artists who claim, or artists and athletes and kind of a lot of people who claim to have followed their intuition to get where they are. I think that's definitely evidence
There's number
of
12
like,
again.
You know, following your gut and where that takes you.
Is that an appeal to popularity? Like a lot of it, high prestige, high status people use it, and
she
Does
said
that give
number
it weight
12
that
on
it's
the
true?
survey, on the SE survey, and I think you interpreted number 10. Like if all
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you interpreted like if all members of a society share a belief, they're justified to hold that belief, for like the appeal to popularity. I heard feelings,
Intuition.
yeah. Though, yeah, I can see how sometimes that, because it sounded like maybe it's feelings and the number of people. I'm not really sure, though. I probably would have gone the feelings route. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard the bandwagon, like the appeal to popularity fallacy.
Oh yeah.
Because a bunch of high prestige people believe it, I'm going to go on that bandwagon and believe it.
It could be both, and really, honestly, you can go either way. The way to question number 10, like I would ask, if all members of a society share a belief, are they justified because of the number of people? That might be, I don't know. Bandwagon is one way to go, and then for number 12 on feelings, thinking about 11 is the way I go usually. Believing in something false feels just like believing something that is true, and asking questions about that.
I heard it as because there are so many successful people believing in that, their success is evidence that it works.
Yeah, but she limited the success to a specific group of people, artists.
Sure.
Not doctors, not scientists. Okay. So it might be interesting to say if we introduce doctors to this idea of using their intuition, would you advise that they do that? It could be interesting to do a sort of an outsider test, but with a different demographic.
Right.
Yeah. If you had to choose to invest in two populations of artists, like 100 artists each, one group had CoStar that they used all day. Like you got a cut of whatever they make in terms of their output of art. Which one would you bet on? I don't know. That's a good question.
That's tricky though, because the artist might generate more compelling work as a result of kind of magical wishful thinking. Maybe it's freeing in some way, but there's probably some potential downsides too if you're not in the art business.
And intuition and creativity are linked. But if you're I like the doctor example. If you're a surgeon and you know how to do the surgery and you've done it a million times, do you want them to trust their intuition and what they read on the CoStar app that morning? Or
right.
Yeah.
Right. If you discover that your doctor was checking CoStar before seeing patients.
Right. For giving you a diagnosis. Yeah.
I wonder if CoStar...
If your surgeon read on CoStar, take risks today. Something like that. Would you advise your surgeon
to? Yeah. Yes. There's so many places you can go. I was just thinking I wonder if CoStar runs advertisements on their software. Maybe like SEI can run some ads for Street Epistemology there. It'd be kind of funny.
Oh yeah. That'd be great. All right, here we go. Last bit.
A lot of people we look up to use it. I wonder.
So
is that the reason I'm hearing? That because a lot of important people use it, is that good reason to think it's true?
That's a good point.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Can you pause it? Can you pause it? See, it always irks me when I hear you're making a good point.
Yeah.
Because I don't want them to be thinking that I'm making it. I hope I'm not making it. We're sort of revealing how you're thinking about it. I want you to understand that, no, you've made this point. I'm not making it. I mean, I don't think I am. I don't know why people phrase it that way. They think you're making the point. Are we? That's maybe we are to a certain degree making it. I don't know, but it always sort of like it's a compliment, but I think they mean it as a compliment, but I don't take it as it. I take it as like, no, you did all the work,
Also, sorry. Want to respond to that?
Go ahead.
One other thing I noticed, you said, is that the appeal to popularity, and you use the name of the
fallacy.
The logical fallacy.
I know.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
I guess she probably didn't know the name of the logical fallacy, and she doesn't know the list of logical fallacies. But if your interlocutor does, probably not a good idea.
Yeah, not the best.
That's a great freeze frame, by the way. If you take a look at this, I love it.
Yeah.
Reed's got
Yeah,
that
look at
laughing,
that.
thinking pose, and she's
Look at those smiling faces.
That's good.
How would you have phrased it instead? The logical fallacy, rather than calling it by name.
Me?
Yeah.
I would have asked, first of all, I would have summarized. So, am I understanding you right? You think a lot of people use that, and therefore it's a good way. And just rephrasing it, or just repeating back to her, maybe that would have been enough. And if not, then ask the question, okay, is it always a reliable way when many people do it to conclude that it's true?
To go with the crowd.
Yeah. What Reed just asked, but yeah, I would have just taken that route.
Yeah, like could all of the people who use that app who are like high prestige artists, could they all be mistaken about astrology? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, last bit.
Yeah, like why are they using it?
Right.
What is their evidence?
Right. I mean, if you have like a bunch of people who are all following this, and then certain people make it, and then they claim to have used this, then obviously this is going to be like the
Okay.
inflated data.
So a good question I think to ask would be, let's say somebody else comes here. Tommy comes over here to the table, and Tommy brings his. Tommy brings his. I don't know why it's always Tommy, but Tommy brings his app, and this app is slightly different. And when we looked at what's going to happen for us today, on one app versus the other, we hear different stories. How will I be able to say which one is correct? Which one should I follow? Which one should I adopt and use as my predictive power for the day?
Could there be an astrology is not true app that just gives you random advice from anywhere it finds on the internet?
I think there was a test. There's a video out right now already. I think it was like Richard Dawkins who just gave everybody the exact same sign throughout the whole class.
Like James Randi. That's James Randi.
I mean, it probably is also James Randi, though. I think that this one in particular was Richard Dawkins, but maybe it is James Randi.
I haven't seen that one. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll put in the show notes so we find it.
Yeah, we'll find it.
Yeah, right.
I think maybe I would. Good question could have been if the app was hacked tomorrow, and so far it's always been astrology based, but now people are just giving out random advice. How would we be able to notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Well, we could keep going talking about the reasons and potential reasons against it, or figuring out how we could test it. I'm going to be here 2 more Wednesdays this year.
All right.
And I'd love to keep continuing to talk about it.
All right.
And I like to offer whoever I talk to one of these little puzzle pieces that are like little stress ball things, if you want to remember the conversation that way.
This one?
Yeah, one of those.
Ooh.
Pick a color.
Yeah, let me work on my debating skills a little bit. I just sat down for fun, but
yeah, it's not a debate. It's all about you and your reasons. I want to hear you out.
Yeah.
This is fun though.
This was fun. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hope to see you again. Thanks.
There you
Nice
go.
outro music, yeah.
Dreamy. I feel like chariots of fire at
Nice.
the end there. Jeez. I expected to see guys running down the beach. You guys remember that movie? It's good. You've never seen it. Watch Chariots of Fire.
Yeah,
It was good. It was good. I think she ended up like thinking about her belief in a really profound way that she probably hasn't before. It seemed like it was her first time verbalizing it. If it was me, I think I would have been eager to end it because I would have felt uncomfortable, honestly. Like I was like, why is this still going on? But I'm glad that you stuck with it because I think you did get some breakthroughs there.
Huh.
Thanks.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't come away with the same impression. I probably would have gone just as long.
Yeah.
But then again, I just love astrology discussions. Probably just because they happen to me on like a daily basis here in Portland, Oregon. So like it's all the time.
I think you love them because you hate them, though, right? Like, don't they irk you?
They
That
do
topic
irk
irks
me.
you. Yeah.
I think they irk me because of the frequency with which I am. Like, you guys have done more religious talks than me, and I hardly ever see anyone talking to me about religion. We're just from a different place in the country, though. Here in Portland, it's like daily, and if it's a first date, it's like a requirement that they ask me. And so I'm always like trying to find new ways to be like cheeky and not so serious, but also like, I'm not going to tell you my sign kind of thing, and try to make it not like too big of a deal. And some people get really upset if you like don't want to share your birthday with them.
Really?
And it's because I know what they're trying to do with my birthday. They're gonna think in their own memory bank of like what my sign might be, so they can shortcut getting to know me as a person. And I'm irked by that. Yes, to say the very least, I'm very irked. Though I understand that when people are believing in something that I don't believe in, there are reasons for that, and I'm trying to be compassionate about the way that they came to this belief, and I want to understand that so that I can explore their reasoning with them. And when I do that, they tend to understand why I'm not giving them my birthday by the end of the talk. And it's usually doesn't take very long. I just have to ask them why they want to know my birthday, for one. And then they're like, well, because it's fun. I'm like, because it's fun? All right. And then we explore like, maybe what it would take for us to think it's not so fun anymore. Like if it wasn't true, for one. Yeah. And so like how we might be able to test it and all that sort of thing. I do enjoy asking these kinds of questions because they reliably challenge people. And it's a great practice for SE to talk to somebody about the belief in astrology, just because a lot of the talks end up helping us build a bridge of understanding with SE.
It seems like a safer topic too. Karma and astrology are really good, safe topics to practice SE on, I think, with people,
Right?
Because they're not as emotionally invested usually as a God belief or even a political position.
And yet people underestimate, like, is that even the right word? Is that a Bushism? Did I just do a Bushism? Misunderestimate. People think that often they repeatedly tell me that they don't apply astrology in their everyday life, and yet if it happens to me every day, how can those two things be true?
Definitely. All right, well, cool. Thanks, guys, for doing another great review. Loved it.
Yeah,
really good.
Great talk.
I put links to all your stuff in the description, and feel free to support SE if you'd like. Patreon.com/Street Epistemology International. And we'd love to see more SE content out there. Feel free to record your stuff and share it. We'd love to see that.
Oh, are we doing something on Sunday we want to talk about?
Oh, we are doing something on Sunday. Yeah. We have our second Ask Me Anything with a subreddit called the Herman Cain Awards. It's a gathering of people who are pro-vaccine, and they share the stories of people who were adamantly against the vaccine and ended up suffering as a result of it. But they have lots of people who are interested in having better conversations about that topic. So we gave an introductory 2.5 hour long video discussion for that subreddit, and they're preparing questions for us to do this again on Sunday. Sunday, I think, is it 5 p.m. U.S. Central Time? Yeah. 5 p.m. U.S. Central Time on Sunday the 12th. So if you follow us on social media or the Street Epistemology account, then you'll more than likely see some chatter about that. There we go. Yeah.
And there's the last one we did. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot more questions this time. More of an organic discussion.
Yeah, let's make it more loose, more organic. Because we spent the first 30 minutes explaining what SE is, why it's important, how to do SE, and then we got to some of the vaccine specific situations.
Yep. All right, cool. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, Reed.
All right.
All right, y'all. Hang on a second. I will end the broadcast. See ya.
All right, bye.
Bye.